symbol is similar to the Iron Cross, but it is more of a group effort. Ailm. A is caring. I is making sure everyone's cared for. Or in this case, for this symbol, it's making sure they have intimate relations with someone while they live once. How does the person that nobody wanted get this? And it's through this symbol. The letter M is the job, is the work they'll be accepting, and the letter L, and then the letter M is going to find the fallen star. When a person wasn't selected during the lineup, basically, the kids, when they would have a prom or whatever, or when they would do the trading, sometimes with the letter Q, what it would mean is there's a line of men and women together, and they're facing each other, getting ready to select, and the men will take turns putting an object at the ground for the woman in front of the line, and then they will take turns while the rest of them are having to look the other way. They have to stand backwards until it's their turn. The one facing forward gets to see, the only one who gets to see what he's pointing at. If he points at his own object, she may say, that is the correct object, and then they would have their hands wrapped, and then they would be joined. And that would be their graduation or whatever out of school, when they became of age. But that's like a wedding, right? And it wasn't like they didn't have any interaction until then, of course, but it could have been more like that in some areas, and sometimes they were harder, or, maybe a winner was really long. While selecting, when he's pointing, the females behind the female in front can let him know that they want him to do the other line, right? They might be doing that. I'll select you if you wait for me, I'll select you. And so the females will do that to the other ones. And this is a lot of the times this would be a process that people would get used to doing and failing without being chosen. I mean, they would try to do it so that people are teaching, so that the men would be taught not to burn people. They were fired until they would learn all the elements. And then when they would join somebody, they become a tree. When they would have children, they become a tree. But until then, they had to learn all the elements. So, basically, at that point, there might be pointing at somebody else's object, and that would be the goal, to get them to be like that. And, in some areas that people needed help, like they needed people to work harder, especially that. More beautiful people could have been sent there that wouldn't even join with anybody, but they would just join the lineup so that everybody would work harder for the opportunity, just for the opportunity. Because, although with the law, they weren't allowed to penetrate, right? The wood, which is the mouth or something was not necessarily illegal right before marriage. So that was what they would be more accepting of that, right? But even that spreads disease, so even that was frowned upon, right? Anyways, so this symbol, you see the one on the leftmost, would have to do with the person might be albino or something like that, because they would be sent to heaven. The magnet, the fallen star fragment, when it's broken, it's one of the most valuable things that a person can find. So what this symbol actually means, it's where a fallen star landed. it doesn't mean that it's the person that was rejected to go get it. But but I'm explaining why that word is Ailm, because of the process that they had to make sure that everybody was cared for and everybody had the best experience. Almost all the white people related to black people that lost their skin and went through something similar. People in Africa, when they became, if there was an albino or if they were losing their skin, they would be shown a magnet, a fallen star fragment, when it's stroked against a loved one enough times in the same direction. It will create the first compass, a magnetic charge when it's dropped in the water. It will always point toward the sky, or the heavens, the north. And so they would be told they're not going to be eaten if they go there. They won't be eaten. So the people of the heavens would accept an albino. Doesn't mean that people would want to marry the person, though, right? A black person losing their skin or whatever might have a hard time. But it was a religious thing for us, and we would actually we would praise them, and we had, it was one of the most holy things to our religious people. Those people that were losing their skin were considered holy because didn't want them to feel rejected, right? Like Ra, the sun god Ra, was losing his skin. So I'm not sure when this was set up, but maybe he was part of it, doing that for people that would be sharing his ailments or whatever, right? Anyways, the people, when they would come and work for us and join the lineup, if they would not be wed, they could go find a fallen star, and by doing that, they would have to stop along bars along the way. That's where they would be lulled in by the ten-horn singers or whatever, and they would be able to actually, enjoy touching a person. And so, that was the ancient way of dealing with it, of handling it, so that the loyalty was earned from every single tribe, because that was the goal, to have a tent that had the shield of all the other tents. That was always the goal. So, somebody might give birth to who knows what, right? But that's still them. They're going to be that person. So it's important to respect that. And it became a holy pilgrimage kind of thing to find that iron crossing. It falls from the sky. It's iron. It's a fallen star. The German, whatever it is, the Iron Cross, whatever, that's basically where a star would fall. And then, where somebody would go find it, the people would give that person the best experience because they felt bad. And the person may not even know, really, well, I mean, it's not really true because they were special and they did go through, the life they would have had would have been absolutely wonderful compared to being eaten or being made fun of or whatever, right? So it wasn't a big deal if you weren't selected. There was always other lineups and stuff like that, but if there was somebody that was always failing or something like that, if it was a female, maybe she should find four-leaf clover that would 1 out of 5,000 times. If you bend over 5,000 times, you might get lucky. You're supposed to get what you have to get. It's 1 out of 5,000 chance. But I'm not saying that to use a person like that. I'm just saying a person's body going to work, doing you're supposed to look for it so to increase the luck. Right? When you find it, it's special. Since it's only 1 out of 5,000 have them. But that way, it's like me picking up garbage. It makes me look a lot better, a lot more attractive. So anyways, that's simple. Hopefully I explained it pretty well. The one on the left, the most, would be maybe an albino person or something like that. The other ones, it's so beautiful winding. And then, what's that one? Right? You know, it's very cool. So that is, how do I say that?
Ailm.
Ailm. Ailm. Interesting. Very cool. So there were when Stonehenge was around, they would watch over there. They'd watch the sky, watch until they saw a fallen star. If it was close enough, they'd be sent out to go find it because of the iron that would be contained in that. It's one of the most valuable things that when they would find it, it would have to be split up 4 ways. It would have to be split up twice because of where it landed. Some of it would go to whoever owned that property. Well, the person who went there would get the rest. Does that make sense? So you'd have to break 1/4 of it off for whoever owned that property. I think it was. I'm not really sure on that part. But it was. The reason it's 4 is because you had to break it in half twice to split it up. It was typically what you'd get out of it, right? So, but those comets or whatever, that would be the first way of having iron. There'd be no other iron besides that for a long time. So it's a holy object that falls from the heavens. When people lived further in the north, they were closer to the sky. They were actually further up in the sky in their minds. They lived further up in the sky. So that's why the rock takes a person up there. So what a beautiful thing to give somebody, to save somebody, right?